Farm for Profit Podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm for Profit Podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm for Profit Podcast.
We're the Farm for Profit Podcast, hanging out here in the AgX booth. So if you do hear our voice, you can certainly come over here and sit down and take a load off. Excited to share with you one of the segments that Dave helped us create on the Farm for Profit Podcast. We call it a What's Working in Ag. So we'd love to give our listeners some of the latest and greatest information, whether it's a tip, a trick, a trend, a technique, something that might help your farm achieve higher levels of profitability. And we do that by sharing what's working on our farm. So really excited to have a conversation today. We've got a couple of guys that clearly know what's working in order to get some high yields. And that's what I'm excited to dive into. Of course, we got Billy back on the podcast, AgX representative, but we also have Matt and Josh. Josh, why don't you start off and let us know who you are, what your type of agriculture is, where you farm, and what your highest yielding bushel per acre number is.
I'm Josh Watson from Sweetwater, Tennessee. We're a row crop operation, formerly dairy back in the day. We've had a decent year. It was a drought year, but we still pulled off some wins. My highest yield to date, I think, 344, Billy, maybe, on corn.
344 bushel?
Dryland, yeah.
Nice. Matt?
I'm Matt Alkey, and I'm from Mount Carmel, Illinois. And I farm with my dad and my brother, and just a little bit of a smaller operation. But so far this year, we got up to 323 in the NCGA. This is probably really our third year being in the NCGA, so we've kind of made some improvements since we started.
So Matt and Josh, I'm as Tanner said, I kind of made this up because I'm new. I farmed 1 year so far, so I've been in cattle, but started row cropping last year. So I am gleaning off of information of guys like yourself that know how to do it. So this is our coffee shop. How in the heck are you getting 300 bushel corn? Like, what's that look like? Josh, start me out. You're way up there. What'd you do? Like, is there a program? Like, give me the recipe.
Well, it started about 7 years ago, I guess. I was planting some other brands of corn, and I kind of did my own plot, and just me, myself, and the planter planted all these different varieties and different names, and this one particular corn came out on top, and so I stuck with that, and then I wanted to do an NCGA plot, and I needed some help, and that's where I met Billy, and he came down, and we got a program, and it just seems like we're...
So coffee shop is all about the secrets. I got to know what the neighbor farmers are doing. So, Billy, what did you tell them to do?
Well,
what's the product? I need it.
This is a funny story right here. So I had met Josh. He was driving. He's a Dodge man, and he works on a lot of Dodges. And if you got a Dodge, you're going to work on them, I think, because I'm a Chevrolet man. But anyway, we go down in this field, and I'd never met Josh before. Another person took me over, and I said, hey, I think we got a program and an approach that will work. I said, if I write it down, will you try it? So he finds me an envelope in the front seat of that old truck. We find an ink pen in the floorboard. I'm back on the diamond plate metal on the bed trying to write it. We write this program out. He follows it to a T. So I'm not used to people following things to a T. That was our first national winner. First year we worked together. And
First year.
First year. Second year we got third in the nation. Last year we got second in the nation. This year we missed it by some points. But you all won with his beautiful wife Whitney every category in Tennessee this year.
4 categories.
4 categories in Tennessee. All from that same envelope sheet of paper from 4 years ago.
Do you have that framed in your office?
It's somewhere there.
So just like the coffee shop, nobody's telling me what's on this piece of paper. What's on this piece of paper? What'd you do?
Go ahead.
Well, we got Grow Pack AI on there, which I don't think it was AI back when we started, was it?
It wasn't. It was SB in the beginning right there, and we have since reformulated it, and it's AI now, yes.
And we use the treated urea.
Contain, yes.
And the potash and DAP.
Yep.
But these plots, I mean, people think, oh, they're pouring all this money in these plots. Well, that's not so true. These plots always have a return on investment every year.
Yeah. So, Matt, did you get the same envelope?
Basically, we were sitting around the kitchen table. We kind of got hooked up with Billy. We were looking for somebody that, since we were in the NCGA for a couple years, we kind of stalled out. The first year we came in and we got a 307. We're like, this is pretty easy, you know, we got 300. And then we're like, then the next 2 years we got stuck in the 280s and we're like, this is, I mean, in the NCGA realm, this is kind of terrible, you know. We're like, I think we can do better than that. So we were looking for somebody that had worked with people that were, you know, state winners and far above our yield level at the time. So that's what we were really interested in, and that's how we got hooked up with Billy and AgX.
Well, I'm a fan of sports, and Billy, what it sounds like is you're that coach. If someone's having a rough season, they want to get better in the off season, they all go to this strength and conditioning coach, or they all go to this speed and agility coach, or something along those lines. You must be the guy in the Corn Grower Award winner Underground.
He's the Patino
So if they're, what you call him?
Coach Patino.
from Kentucky.
I like that. But is there some truth to that? Is there a little network of people that?
I have been blessed. I don't understand why I have been blessed the way I have with the program approach that we have, to have it over such an area. I look at what I say is the obvious when I'm looking at a program. So you think about great inventions. You look at inventions out here and you see something, you're like, man, I'm smart enough to have come up with that invention. Really simple, right? And I think when we're chasing these yields, we're looking for the next big thing instead of looking for what's right in front of our face that's holding us back. So we're thinking, while we believe in technologies, sometimes the basics get you to where you need to be and the technologies take you further. So let's get to where we need to be first, then let's take advantage of the other things.
So, Billy, we got Tennessee ground, we got Illinois ground. What I don't know what GrowPack AI is, and I don't know the everything else you wrote on there. Do we do something different for Matt than we did for Josh?
No.
So same program.
Same exact.
So same program, different soils, different states, both.
Different weather, different patterns, different seed, different.
So something's working. Is it the program, or is it your advice? Is it the product? Is it all of it combined?
It's all combined.
It's
a
all combined.
Synergistic effect. So I have another yield grower here that has a great analogy, Dennis McKay in the audience here somewhere, and he says it's a cherry pie, Billy. He says you have 7 ingredients in a cherry pie. You take out one of those ingredients, will that pie be as good as it was? And is it the flour that made the pie, or is it the sugar? But when you got all 7 together, the pie is great. And it's like this program. I think tried and true now for 9 years, and it's a program approach in that situation.
So Tanner, I can conclude this whole deal right now. What's working is just listen to Billy.
Well, we've been blessed.
I do think that I'll go back to a little bit of like a coaching thing. Like, good players make good coaches. So I think it takes the farmer that wants to do better and is already at, maybe I feel like better than the average in your area. And so then you kind of want to build from that, because you're looking already a lot, like I think a lot of the guys, obviously you have to want to be a higher yielder to get hooked up with somebody like that. So I think that's what, he has got a good foundation to start with, I would say, for sure.
You can't be a naysayer.
No.
You've got to be a dreamer. You've got to want.
It's okay to be skeptical.
It's okay to be skeptical.
Question, but like Josh, he still has the envelope of the plan that you wrote, and then he followed it to a T. So I still don't know what GrowPack AI is.
Tell me what GrowPack AI is.
It's a seed treatment. I don't know what all's in it. Billy can.
It's a planter box seed treatment with mycorrhizobia fungi, trichoderma, micronutrient package, and a talc replacement. Trichoderma, crown rot, mycorrhizobia, we understand moving the nutrition to the root where the plants goes sugars back. And then just a small amount of micronutrients. But I think it's super important. It's real simple to this program. Micronutrients, stay green. We're gathering sunlight, turning water into weight. So the greener we can stay, so I start with that GrowPack AI in my planter box on my soybean seed, and my it's also a soybean inoculant with the Brady rhizobia, but I start with that right there on my corn and beans to start green and to get going out, and from there we just feed the crop for the physiology stage it's in right there.
Tanner, I didn't understand half of those words that he said, but what I do understand is people, and what I understand is Billy has a confidence that he could dance with any girl at the bar. And where does that come from? Like, is it the company behind you? Is it the study that you know that it's proven? Or where does your confidence come from, Billy? Because any of these listeners out here, I guarantee if we end this interview right now, you'll go tell them that you can make them a better yield right now.
The confidence comes from me buying lots of lessons on my own farm growing up and
Okay.
realizing that I was the only guy that could change if the bank was going to give me a loan or not to operate the next year. My wife one time asked me, she said, Billy, when are you going to quit losing money on this farm? And I said, when I figure out every way there is to lose money. And I figured out every way there was. I really did. And I started seeing what was working. And I just simply took what was working I was a produce farmer. I took what was working in a produce market, brought it to the row crop, because in a produce market I can change really quick because I'm picking every week, I'm going every week. We are a program approach, and I brought that over into the row crop, and it just started working great.
I just love when we get to have conversations with AgX that between you and John and Gunny, the analogies that you provide to make it so I can understand some of the stuff you're actually talking about. And I know that helps some of our listeners that are just getting started or that are very young in their careers. Matt and Josh, Matt, I'll have you go first. If somebody wants to get into the corn yielding contest, high yield contest, what advice do you have for them to try it out in their first year?
I think you kind of have to throw out all the things you've learned in the past, maybe. I think that's one of the big holdups in the farming industry is we've done it this way forever. Like my brother and I came into a pretty good situation where my grandpa and my dad already were like, probably 20, 30 bushels above, our county average yield already. And so, if you kind of, obviously they had a good foundation set, but you kind of also have to walk away from some of that stuff and be willing to try different things that maybe, for the most part, our dad is very, whatever you want to do, go for it, that's great. And I know a lot of people don't have that, where it's like, we can't do it, we've done it this way for 30 years, and I think that's one of the biggest hurdles you have to get over when you're trying to get to a different yield level like this.
That's good. Josh, what about you?
I would suggest picking the right hybrid for your area, and that might be a little bit of a challenge. You could look up the state across the board and finding that hybrid, and then finding somebody you can trust to help you along, because it takes a lot of help and sweat.
So help me with this, Joshua. Most guys might start younger and they have 38 growing seasons. I started at 44. I only have 12 growing seasons. I don't have lots of seasons to test every hybrid. How do I find that hybrid right away? How do I not make that mistake? What'd you do? What's the secret?
Well, I think you need to get the longest maturity corn for your area.
Longest maturity for your area.
Like if it's 116 day for your area, plant that. If it's 110, plant 110. But my area is 116 to 118.
Billy, is that something AgX will help me with? Not knowing every hybrid, every company, do you have an app with a spin wheel with something on it that tells me where to go?
The AgX employees have so much knowledge of every aspect of the arena.
I mean, you guys don't sell it, but
we don't sell it.
Maybe
but
advise.
It's like I tell everybody, to make our product look good, we've got to know every facet of the stuff that's going into it. So our guys knows hybrids, they understand hybrid placement, they understand how your dry fertilities need to work, they understand how to get more out of your dry fertilities with your seed treatments, with your fertilizer treatments, your pre-plant treatments. And it comes down to what he said, find somebody you can trust, and I don't know that you can find anyone that you can trust more than the AgX people I've had the opportunity to work with. And it all comes down to that. If we don't have trust and reputation, you don't have a business.
Go ahead.
I kind of have something to add, because since we started this game of getting higher yields, we've worked with a few companies, and they'll have a laundry list of stuff that they want you to try. And once you buy that stuff, and then you're kind of on your own, you put it out there when you think you should, and then you never see them again. And that's what we were really searching for with Billy, was he was there probably 8 or 10 times throughout the growing season. And like you said, when he drives 100,000 miles a year, it's probably 3 or 4 hours to get to our place for him, and he's there constantly. He was even coming to look at it, I think, one week when we were on vacation, I think. And that's a different level of commitment than what we've had in the past. So
That's cool, and I think that's the perfect way to wrap up a What's Working in Ag segment. You guys have shared a lot of tips for our listeners, especially for the people that have been hanging out with us here at the show. But Billy, I want to say thank you from us for the knowledge that you're willing to share and the time that you invest into every one of your growers. And also want to say thanks to AgX for having us in their booth. So if you guys are hanging around here and you want to boost your yields and maybe compete, Billy will be around signing autographs. You can come right over here. No, in all sincerity, Matt, Josh, thanks for jumping up here and sharing what worked on your farm.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You bet.